She should be here now. We would get her dolled up also.
Yeah.
Today is June
10th?
1997. My name is Elsa Gurowsky. My husband Ken Gurowsky is filming, and we are about to bring you the documentary, The Life and Times of Elsa and Gurowsky.
Wow, that's quite an introduction. Gee, we got no... Are you filming already?
Uh-huh.
Oy vey, mir. It's in, you can, if when you do this again, is it going to be audible with whatever I say? Oy vey, mir. I'm going to have to do a dance. Was I ever a child? I must have been. Here I am. When I was a child, we lived near Church Avenue. Do you know Brooklyn at all?
Uh-huh.
Okay. We lived not far from Church Avenue, but it was an undeveloped area. It was mainly open space, all open, and people started to build houses there. And my family built a beautiful red brick house. It was one of the few that, went up and sort of stayed up, so to speak. It was a very beautiful house, and I lived there right through my entire childhood. So I had, let me see, there were 8 people in my family, brothers and sisters. And on rainy days, my sisters were very good at improvising a lot of things, because there was nothing much to be done. It wasn't like today where you can go to a movie or you could go there or someplace wherever. Restaurants, everybody ate at home. Hardly anyone went to restaurants. Not that there wasn't the money for it, but it was just not the thing, sort of, it was not the time. And so I was born June 20, let me see, 6/5/27. I was born at that time. And my sisters, as I said, my older sisters, rainy days, some were teachers, so on, whatever they did. And on rainy days, my sisters would get dressed up in Japanese kimonos. That was also very popular at the time.
Wow.
It was like something, sort of different, special, whatever you want to call it. And they would sort of get up on a platform, they'd make an artificial platform, and there they would be in those beautiful Japanese kimonos. I really mean beautiful. I have one that I can actually show you, although that was not there at the time. I got that later on. And so, they would fool around, run around, and one of my sisters, who was a teacher, she was the one who bought us our first radio, one of these big box things that sits on the floor,
Uh-huh.
And so we were, a pretty happy group. People didn't have that much money, but everybody seemed to be getting along and doing things and so on, and eventually went through so many different stages. And that was on East 93rd Street. I remember the number of the house, 718 East 93rd Street. You walked up a big flight of steps, and in the summertime, that we had that like an arbor, down on the ground, and that's where we used to play house. My mother and father were both came to this country from Russia, and the story was that, and living in Russia, my older sister, who is gone now a long time, she did not want to leave Russia. She loved it. She said the reason. So we used to say, "Why don't you want to leave Russia?" And her answer was, she said, "I never want to leave my grandmother, so help me." That was the answer. So, of course, the time went on, and it was customary. Most people, when they came here from Europe, they may have had an uncle or an aunt or someone who would take them into their house. Everything went very slowly. You couldn't really build on things much. But it all worked out. It all worked out in the end. But the best thing I'll always remember is my sisters dancing in those Japanese kimonos. right there in the big room. It was a big house with a lot of big rooms. Now, my dad also came from Russia. However, he almost didn't make it to our shores because he was told by someone that if he was to leave Russia, he would be conscripted into the army. But none of us, we all had passports. Everybody had passports, which was very unusual in those days. In other words, you couldn't just, some people used to wait until darkness and then they would run through the woods and come out the other side or something like that. And they'd make their way to America somehow. They had some money, but not that much. And they had to come by ship, of course. Came by ship.
Let's hear how you and Murry met.
How did I meet Murry? I know I met him, but how? Oh, God, gotta ask Murry that. How did we meet? I really can't remember exactly how we met. Let's see.
Were you in school?
No, we didn't know each other in school. Murry was older than me. And, how did we meet? Oh, God, where is he? He would probably remember it all. Should I go see where he is? I'll ask him. Our first apartment, well, what happened eventually, to go back to the house that was being built, with just a few houses on the entire area there, what happened was, I guess we had a mortgage, and we couldn't keep it up. My father always had a store, like a grocery store, fruit and vegetable store, and that's how they made their living. And my mother used to stand outside the school. A beautiful new school was built there about the same time as it happened. And she would sell candies, She'd have a little cart. They used to call it a push cart. She'd stand outside, and the kids came out of school. She'd sell them candies. When you couldn't buy liquor, what was that?
Prohibition.
Prohibition, okay. So during Prohibition, people used to go down in their basements, garages, of whatever they had or whatever, and they used to make their own liquor. And so one day, this I can almost remember, one day what happened was there was a big hoo-ha going on. All of a sudden everybody was running out to see what was happening and all. And what was it all about? Somebody was making illegal liquor in their basement. And so what happened was all that stuff went pouring out on the road, like in front of the house, and what a stench that was terrible. People made illegal liquor because Prohibition was absolutely prohibited. You could not make or buy liquor. I see there was this beautiful new school built, and so I didn't have too many problems, and I just went across the street, like around the corner, and there was a school, and I went to school. It was a beautiful school. The other funny thing was that, you know how children feel about the parents sometimes. See, my mother wanted to come and see me in the classroom, and I was so nervous. I thought, oh my God, my mother wants to come. She's coming to see me, and the teacher would be there and all that. But I insisted. I said, I want you to come, Mom, because it's open school week. They don't have those things anymore, I don't think, at all. But they had it then. And so open school week, the parents would come and sit in the back of the room, in the classroom, and they'd be very happy to see their kids there and so on. And that was one of the things that was interesting. That was nice. Older sister, she was already a nurse. And then my other sister, who was a little younger than her, she became a nurse in Kings County Hospital. And then I became a nurse. I never regretted it. It was wonderful. To this day, it's still... Hello there. 2 people are here now.
Smile for the camera, son.
Smile for... Oh, I didn't smile for the camera.
Is it on right now, Dad?
What?
Oh.
Yeah, he's taking movies of me.
Oh, wow, you look nice.
I look nice?
Oh, done
I
it
didn't
up.
like this.
Something is definitely going on.
All right.
Go ahead. Let's talk about your
Yes.
earliest memories of you and Murray.
That's really tough. For some reason, I can't recall the earliest memories, although, oh, I do recall, yeah, wait a minute, I do remember something, okay. I think he proposed to me at one time, and so we were going to go down to New York City and get a license, a marriage license. Yeah, there's this little thing, there's little bugs around. And so we went on the subway, and we're riding along on the subway, and we were going to go to, what do you call that where they go for marriage licenses?
The courthouse.
The courthouse, okay, whatever it was, the courthouse. And so we're on the train going along, and we're going to be getting there. And all of a sudden, Murray says, you know, he says, when the train stops the next time, he says, we're getting off. I says, why are we getting off? He says, well, we're going to get off. He didn't really elaborate on why. So I thought, okay, so. But we had to get a marriage license. Nobody was going to do it. You had to go down there. Everybody who wanted to get married.
So he surprised you.
Huh?
It was a surprise.
Yeah, so that was a surprise. Then, let's see. Oh, yeah, so we get off, and I was very annoyed. Oh, the door's open. So I felt kind of strange. I mean, why did he want to do that? So then he said, well, he wanted to get married, and I think he did get the marriage license eventually. They told him where to go to get it, or whatever. And so the next thing I knew was that, and then we had, and he said to get married, he said we'd have to get a rabbi. You know, he couldn't just get married in, however you call it. So he knew this rabbi. We went to his house, and he married us. You know, he was a rabbi, and he was able to do that. And on, you know, sort of in a certain way, you know, life began. Although when he married us, actually, we had some family and friends there. And I remember one of my friends, well, you know, as for a wedding present, she gave me a beautiful bathrobe. Yeah. It was the good old days. You know, everything was so simple in those days. And so...
After that, I guess David came.
Yeah, then David, then Susie. 3 children, had three children. I never really had any problems with them, so there's not really very much that I can tell you about them. They were good kids. Where did we live then? We were living in Brooklyn, of course. We hadn't moved anyplace else. And things just kept going along, you know. First there's school, then there's this, then there's that. And then the kids start to grow up, and they make friends, and then they want to go out on dates. You know, in those days, parents were sort of in between. They didn't want their kids to do certain things. On the other hand, they didn't want to stop them completely.
Sure.
So that they were sort of like on both sides of the issue, so to speak. And then things just kept developing. Finally, we moved someplace else. We went wherever, whatever. And that was it. There wasn't really that much that was too exciting. But it was nice. It was a good life. It wasn't a bad life at all. It was nice. Now...
And Alyssa was born here.
What?
Alyssa was born here, right? I think Alyssa was born in this house, or in Rockland County.
No, she wasn't born in this house. They were all born in the hospitals. They were all born in a hospital.
But she's a Rockland County native.
Well, she is now, but she probably wasn't at the time. I don't know if she was or not.
Oh, wait, maybe she was born in the Bronx.
In the boy, she said she was born in the Bronx?
I think so.
could be. Influenced by my two sisters, my older sister, who was already a nurse, had been a nurse for a while, and then there was another sister who was just a little younger than her. Oh, I'll tell you one funny thing, but maybe you want to stop the camera or what?
Go ahead.
Okay. It's like an interruption. All right, so I told you that my parents always had some kind of a business, you know, like real Jewish parents, always had a business. And we used to go. We had family. We had aunts, uncles. I used to go with my mother. She'd say, "Come on, let's go to see aunt this one and that one." But at that point, they had a store. They had a store, and I was very little. I must have been maybe 3 years old the most. I was quite young. I don't mean little in size, but I was quite young. And so we went to visit somebody, and they had a store also. You see, that's how most of the Jewish people made it in America. They started off with some kind of a little business, and then if they were successful, you know, that kept them going. So there we were visiting somebody who had a store also. You know, it's like being in the same club, so to speak. The people all were very close in certain ways. Knew each other and did things similar and ate the usual foods and everything else. So what happened that time was I went with my parents and we went to visit, let's say, aunt whoever, some aunt, okay? And she had a store. Everybody had some kind of a store. Or else they had a push cart. You know what a push cart is like?
Yeah, sure, you sold.
Yeah.
Tell me what it was like.
Well, a push cart was just something that literally was something you really
A
had
movable
put.
store.
It was like a movable store, right, yes. So, okay, so to go back to this, because it was a little bit funny anyway. So I'm there with my parents, and we're visiting these people in their store. And at some point, as they were talking and everything was fine, you know, it was pleasant, nice, everyone's having a good time, getting together and so on. So then what happens? Oh God, this is going to go down in history. What happens is that they're all talking, you know, adults, blah, 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 this one, the other one, and they didn't pay much attention to me. And little did they know, and of course in a store in the back, they always had a bathroom or something back there. Somebody had to use it, of course. So what happened was they just completely sort of blocked me out. There was nothing much that I could say or do, but I had to use the bathroom. But I didn't think of it in those terms because I was so young. I think they were still putting diapers on me or something. So what happened was I just peed right there in the store. And there was such an outburst, such a hue and cry. The woman of the store, "Oh, look at your daughter, look what she did, you know, and oh, she had to come in here and do it. Why didn't she go home? Why didn't she?" I must have been maybe 2-3 years old at the most.
My God.
And I'm there, and I want to tell you,
I can't believe you remember this.
I was a very feisty kid, not mean or anything, but I had a mind of my own. So just picture it, you know, make like a mental picture. You're in a store, the kid wee-wee's on the floor, okay? Of course, everyone is just scandalized, you know, to see those things happening. And so what do I do? Oh, so one of the women in the store said, go out of the store, go out of the store. So I can still remember this, so help me, I can still remember this. She says, "Oh," in Yiddish, let's say, she says, "Get your ice from store, get your ice from store." And I'm just standing there. I don't know which way I'm going anyway. Which way is out? I don't know. You know, about 2 years old, 3 at the most. And so she kept saying, "Go out of the store. Go out of the store. Look what you did. You peed all over the place or whatever." So I walked to the door. Of the store. And when I got to the door, I opened the door, and then I turned around, and I gave him the Bronx chair. So help me God, that's exactly what I did.
What
You know
was
the
it?
Bronx chair?
No, let's hear that.
Oh God, oh my goodness, I don't know if I could ever repeat that. I was so mad at them. I was so mad. The Bronx chair is something like this. That's what it was. That's the Bronx chair, even if it was in Brooklyn. That sort of a feeling into other things. You know,
What's that?
there was a time when I was very, very shy. You know, as you get a little bit older, sometimes you get even more shy. So there was a time when I was really leery of being with people, and you know, especially grown-ups, and always talking about something that you don't know anything about. But that was really my very early childhood. Then, of course, things change. You get older and you move places or whatever. But my whole family, they never forgot it, because some of them were also there. You know, it was that kind of a thing where you could just come in and talk to somebody.
Well, the Bronx cheer gave you self-confidence. It
It
started it all off.
Did. It sure did. So they just couldn't get over it. They couldn't get over it. But I was that kind of a little kid. But I was not mean. I never, you know, hit anybody. I never hurt anybody. But that Bronx chair did it. It did it. It knocked them really. I think it changed my sisters and brothers completely.
Slept that on a plane and everything. Boy, coming up by car.
Oh, well, you see, Alyssa was one of the three. There was Alyssa, Susie, and David. Those were the three children born to me, the first three children. And, well, we had a good family life wherever we lived, in Brooklyn or wherever. We didn't move around too much. And so, I can recall one thing that, oh, what now? It's coming out. So, it's nice. I like this. This is good weather. Do remember something? Yeah. Wait a minute. Let me see. First of all, what school was that you were in?
I was in Skunk Hollow,
Yes, but the regular school.
Ramapo High School.
That was Ramapo High School. Okay, and I remember sitting in the, I guess I was driving a car at that time, and I was sitting in the parking lot and waiting, but I'm not sure who I was waiting for. But who came over, because, you know, I was in the driver's seat there, and the window was up or down, whichever, I don't recall. But whatever it was, suddenly there was this red-headed young guy standing right next to the car. And I thought to myself, who in the world is that? Because I really never saw anybody with such red hair. And so that was you, Kenny. That's a story on you. That was you.
Yeah.
And it was getting a little dark, you know, it was sort of like late. I guess it was what was it, the high school, you said?
Yeah, it was the
high
SWAS
school.
concert I met Alyssa.
Oh, it was the SWAS concert. So it was just, oh, hi, hello, and that was about it. I didn't say anything much. I don't think you said anything much at the time. But that was one of the things I remember.
What did Alyssa say in the car? Did she say, I like this guy I just met?
I don't think she said anything at the time either. Maybe she did, but I don't recall it. Oh, and also, I shouldn't tell tales out of school. Also, I think you were a little bit of a rambunctious kind of a kid, right?
Uh-huh.
So, oh yeah, wait, did you play the drums then?
Yes.
You were playing
Yeah.
the drums, okay. Well, that's interesting. You were playing the drums. You liked music from the beginning, yeah. And so what happened after that? I only saw you in the school now and then because I was a school nurse teacher at that time.
Uh-huh.
You know, and so I would sometimes go to a different school just to see what was doing or whatever. And so that's how I met you, Kenny. That was the first time I ever saw you. Right, right.
It's funny.
Oh, you don't know. When you all moved to Florida, I don't even want to talk about it now. Rachel is here.
That's okay. Go ahead.
When you all moved to Florida, or you were going to move there because you had the perfumes and all, remember the perfumes? Oh, we're having such a time here.
Keep going, I'm listening.
Yeah, that's all right. So, at that time, let's see, where was I?
When we moved to Florida, when Brian
Yes,
was
you
born.
moved to Florida. And remember when you lived in that house, you rented the house with the pear trees?
Uh-huh.
Oh, those pears were marvelous. They were so delicious, even when they fell on the ground. And so I would be there, you know, I would be there with Alyssa from time to time. For some reason, you know, it was easy to get to the house or whatever it was. And so, but then you left the house, and that's when you went to Florida, right?
Uh-huh.
And so I said to Alyssa, I said, you mean Brian is going with you? You're taking Brian to Florida with you? And I couldn't take it. It was so tough. Let the ladies go. Let the ladies go. And it was so then, because you got that very good deal with what's his name, you know.
Ross.
Ross, right. And so you couldn't say no to a deal like that. And so you went down there and you got a place and all, right?
Uh-huh.
And so that was fine. That was okay. Nothing wrong with that.
Do you have him?
Yes.
Say, get up. Not good enough. Get up. Get up. No, get up there, son.
Sounds like a wolf.
Come on, get up. Up. Oh, good boy.
Oh, what a jump.